Donald Trump's dark past is surfacing, as is the dark past of other MAGA Republicans in Congress, or frankly, any member of Congress who has engaged in despicable conduct that they were trying to sweep under the rug. One thing that we're seeing happen right now is, on a bipartisan basis, some Republicans and Democrats, also being led by some MAGA Republican female leaders like Anna Paulina Luna, Nancy Mace, and even Lauren Boebert, are supporting a resolution that would publish all of the sexual harassment settlements and allegations that have been made against members of Congress, especially where hush money payments were made in order to do secret, confidential settlements. And so we caught up with a number of these MAGA Republicans on Capitol Hill during the State of the Union in order to ask them about this resolution, and it's being supported by Democrats too. We could see another discharge petition on this as well. Now, while Donald Trump was giving that State of the Union, of course, there were empty seats everywhere, and that's all that everybody's talking about now as well. The highly successful MeidasTouch network boycott of the State of the Union, 70 plus members in the House and in the Senate boycotted. They joined the MeidasTouch event. What a historic night that was to spend that time together. But there were inside the House chambers a number of Epstein survivors who were there, and they had a powerful message for Donald Trump with their presence. They wore the butterfly pins in honor of Virginia Giuffre, who died by suicide. She worked at Mar-a-Lago when she was underage, and she was sex trafficked out of Mar-a-Lago by Epstein. And then you also had survivors wearing teal scarves last night as well. This came at the same time where we learned about additional cover-up by the Department of Justice of the Epstein files, specifically regarding accusations by underage children against Donald Trump that are still being covered up right now. There was great reporting originally by Roger Sullenberger on this. Then PBS did some good reporting, and the House Oversight Dems did some great work on this. Give credit where credit is due to the great work they've all done. Here's what the Oversight Dems posted last night, right before Donald Trump was giving that State of that disaster, what do you want to call it? For the last few weeks, Oversight Democrats have been investigating the FBI's handling of allegations from 2019 of sexual assault on a minor against Donald Trump by a survivor. Oversight Democrats can confirm the DOJ appears to have illegally withheld FBI interviews with this survivor. Covering up direct evidence of a potential assault by Donald Trump is the most serious possible crime in this White House cover-up, they go on to write. Here's what NPR's investigation detailed. Hat tip to Stephen Fowler. An NPR investigation finds the public database of Epstein files is missing dozens of pages related to sexual abuse accusations against Donald Trump. Other documents that mention Trump have also been taken down. A few of them have been restored after they were called out by NPR, by Roger Sullenberger, and by the MeidasTouch and others, and Aaron Parnas, for example. But here's what the report explains. There appears to be at least 50 pages of FBI interviews regarding a specific survivor who accused Donald Trump of sexual abuse when she was a minor. That document is being covered up. NPR reviewed multiple sets of unique serial numbers. We call them, in legal jargon, we call them Bates numbers, appearing before and after the pages in question, stamped onto the documents. And you can see in this latest tranche of documents that there are just dozens and dozens of these Bates numbers that are missing. These serial numbers, as they're calling it here, they are absolutely missing. And so, by the way, there are still 50 terabytes of documents that are missing as well. And which means there's probably 50 million, 100 million records that have not been produced. And we believe, and our sources also tell us as well, that there are, far more devastating information in the documents that are being concealed by Donald Trump. As Congressmember Garcia posted, this is the manifest document in the files. The highlighted documents you see there are what is missing. So let's just contrast for a moment what our DOJ is doing and say what they're doing in other countries, right? As you know, in the UK, Peter Mandelson, who went by the name Lord Peter Mandelson, the former UK ambassador to the United States, he's been arrested in connection with his connections to Epstein. You have Andrew Mountbatten, who's to be Prince Andrew. He was arrested in connection with his connections to Epstein and everything we saw in the files there. In Poland, they just dropped a bombshell, as Bethany O'Leary explains. They are forming a full task force to rip through the Epstein files and are preparing to launch their own independent investigation. Special prosecutors are on the case, and anybody who's associated with it in Poland will be uncovered. No stone will be left unturned, is what the Polish officials are saying. Polish officials say they are not satisfied with the watered-down U.S. releases and now officially view the Epstein files as a direct threat to Poland's national security. Thus, even America's closest Eastern European ally doesn't trust what Washington handed over and thinks the full truth could expose something even more massive. And so Poland is going on the offense here. The National Prosecutor's Office said that they have a newly formed body dubbed Investigation Team Number 5, and they will be going through all the documents, all of the records, and they will be using anything in their power in order to look through this. Then separately, the Justice Ministry confirmed the creation of an analytical task force chaired by a chief justice, a top justice there as well. And so they're taking it seriously. But as I said, compare this to the DOJ in the United States. Their rapid response account yesterday posted, "Oversight Dems should stop misleading the public while manufacturing outrage from their radical anti-Trump base. The Justice Department has repeatedly said publicly and directly to NPR, prior to deadline, nothing has been deleted. If files are temporarily pulled for victim redactions or to redact personally identifiable information, then those documents are promptly restored online and are publicly available. All responsive documents have been produced unless a document falls within one of the following categories: duplicates, privileged, or part of an ongoing federal investigation." So do you see where the cover-up is right there? Not on the duplicates part, privileged, or part of an ongoing federal investigation. In other words, the Trump DOJ is their own adjudicator of what they're claiming is privileged, and they're using this broad term called deliberative process privilege to say that all of the internal memos, the work product, and all of the FBI interviews, a lot of this is deliberative process privilege. And so it's not being turned over. The Epstein Transparency Act does not say you can withhold documents on the basis of any type of privilege claim. And what would the deliberative process privilege claim even be at this point? And didn't the Department of Justice and the FBI claim several months ago, or even over last summer rather, that there was no ongoing investigation, but now they're saying there is federal investigation, but when they testify before Congress, they say that there is no investigation. So that's what our DOJ is doing. And they're obviously hiding, as I said, about 50 terabytes of documents are probably being concealed right now. The Oversight Dems responded to that DOJ rapid response account and said, records of FBI interviews with a survivor who alleged Trump sexually assaulted her as a child aren't duplicates and shouldn't be privileged. Are you saying there's an active, ongoing federal investigation into Donald Trump? Did you just admit that you want to do an investigation? Are you now claiming that because you are conducting an investigation into Trump, which you're never going to prosecute him, that means you're going to withhold the documents by claiming that? I mean, just think about that. There's an ongoing investigation. We can't tell you who, but that's why all the Trump documents are being withheld. That's their trick that they're using. I think that's indeed what they are doing.
The news is loud, tax season is here, and somehow you're still expected to stay informed and functional. IndaCloud is your fully legal online cannabis dispensary for gummies, premium pre-rolls, exotic flower, and zero sugar THC sodas, which are a clean, alcohol-free way to decompress when the information cycle won't slow down. Everything available is federally legal hemp, THC, DEA certified, lab tested, and shipped discreetly to your door. Staying informed shouldn't mean staying overwhelmed. Take their sleep gummies for shutting down those late night headline loops, or their THC sodas for easing tension without alcohol, and the premium pre-rolls for intentional decompression. Oh, and don't forget their $70 ounces for staying grounded without financial stress. This is how adults stay informed without staying overwhelmed. If you are 21 or older, grab 35% off the entire month and practice a little self-love at indacloud.co when you use code Meidas at checkout. That's indacloud.co, code Meidas, 35% off all month long, shipped discreetly to your door. And don't forget to fill out the quick survey when you order to support the MeidasTouch podcast. Enjoy responsibly. As always, a massive thanks to IndaCloud for helping keep February in perspective.
Now, as I started this video, I also talked about how there were these MAGA Republican Congress members, these MAGA Congresswomen who are out there saying, you know what, it's even more than just, the Epstein files. They're saying, we want to out our male colleagues here in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. I don't care whether you're a MAGA Republican, if you're a Democrat, if you're an independent, doesn't matter. If you made hush money settlement payments for sexual assault, sexual harassment, anything like that, that should be revealed publicly. Don't we all agree with that? Here's what Lauren Boebert said. Let's play this clip.
Obviously, you've called on Congressman Gonzalez to resign over alleged sexual misconduct. There's now a resolution that would reveal a lot more about the culture of sexual misconduct in Congress. Are you supportive of that, despite Congresswoman Mace?
I'm absolutely supportive of Congresswoman Mace's resolution to uncover the other sexual harassment issues that take place here in our nation's capital. And even further, I am supportive of releasing the Congressional Hush Money Slush Fund. There's been tens of millions of dollars that have been paid out over the years here in Congress to keep Hill staffers quiet about alleged sexual misconduct and other forms of mistreatment in the office. So I would love to see every congressman who's ever had to pay a settlement to a staffer, and I'm certainly supportive of Nancy Mace's resolution.
I guess what would be your message to a staffer who finds themselves in these terrible situations where members are being creepy to them?
I mean, it's awful. It's awful in any workplace. It certainly shouldn't be held here. We have high standards. We agree to these standards. We promise hundreds of thousands of people that we are leaders of integrity, and it shouldn't be happening here.
And here's what Nancy Mace and Anna Paulina Luna told our reporter, Pablo Manriquez. Here, play this clip.
You've called for the resignation of Tony Gonzalez. Have you heard anything back from leadership?
No, we haven't, and I filed a resolution last night to publicly expose all the sexual harassment violations of members of Congress. I'll file it as privileged next week.
Okay, got it. And
I'll force a vote on it.
How quickly could a vote come?
2 days, a day or two after. I'll file on the 4th, we'll probably vote on the 5th.
Is this something like the Epstein files? It's going to take months and months and months to see those.
They'll probably just refer it to committee and sweep it under the rug like they always do.
Where it will die. Everything goes to die in committee.
Yep.
But if it's going to die in the committee, then how can the American people, how can Texans, his constituents specifically, know what happened?
Voters are going to have to turn out against him or, force him to resign. I mean, I don't know how he moves forward. It was disgusting. It was shameful. And it's why many women feel like second-class citizens. And we just got to say no more. He's got to go.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman.
Thank you.
Now, also, as Donald Trump's dark past is surfacing as well, I got to give a hat tip to Ryan Goodman's piece. And here's what he uncovered as well. 5 days after Jeffrey Epstein's arrest, federal authorities directed New York law enforcement authorities to stand down their investigation related to Epstein. New documents released by the DOJ show. So the Attorney General's, the Special Victims Unit, SVU, in New York City, in Manhattan, was told, do not investigate Epstein. The feds will handle it. And then the feds didn't really look after the co-conspirators. And the feds protected the Epstein class. Just look at these emails. Look at EFTA 156644. Here's what it says. These are from United States attorneys to each other. Memo to file regarding DANY call. That's the District Attorney of New York. That's the Manhattan DA's office. Hi, do you have time for a call to discuss a victim who recently came to our attention with connections to Epstein Maxwell? To be clear, we aren't suggesting investigating Maxwell for more crimes, but this victim has identified other potential traffickers, and we think it makes sense to do a bit of due diligence before deciding what, if anything, we should do with that information. And then it goes on to say, apologies on the delay. Happy to chat. Let me know what works best for you. Okay. And then we found out what happened before then. We had some issues prior and post arrest of Epstein with possible rumors of the District Attorney of New York having a case on him. We eventually found out, I think after the arrest was made, that the NYPD special victims did fly to New Mexico to interview an Epstein victim farmer. After our arrest was public, some phone calls were made amongst NYPD brass, and I'm pretty sure their investigation was closed and differed to us. I'm not totally sure of the DANY, that's again, District Attorney of New York's involvement into that investigation, or if they ever stopped. Our assumption was obviously they closed anything they had after his death. It may be an issue, though, if DANY somehow was continuing an investigation into Prince Andrew or his best friend Maxwell. This is something we may want to figure out. I'm hoping they are continuing to defer this case to us, but we may not know without making a few inquiries. And then it goes on to say, so-and-so just called. FBI reached out to NYPD. This was in 2019. FBI reached out to NYPD leadership already, and they were told that Special Victims Unit has been directed to stand down and that all Epstein stuff needs to go to and through us. DANY could still try to go forward with their own investigators, so I think it's worth a call over. I mean, it's right there, folks. Isn't it right there? I want to show you a few more things as well. This was Congressmember Garcia last night before the State of the Union with Annie Farmer. Here's what she's a survivor of Epstein. Let's play this clip.
Yesterday, I actually looked at this tranche of documents that was being described to you. We've been investigating this allegation now for a few weeks. And what I can confirm to what Lisa said and other reporting is that I have seen the manifest document that lays out the series of documents that includes interviews and other files. Within that grouping, it's clear that what's been presented to the Congress, there is a group of documents or document that is actually missing. I myself reviewed these exact documents, the manifest, yesterday. I have seen other interviews and documentation with this survivor, but those additional documents seem to be missing. And that's something that I confirmed as of yesterday in my visit to the Department of Justice. The idea that there is a possible cover-up or that we are hiding actual documentation of an alleged crime by the President of the United States, of which a survivor appears to have made, is incredibly serious, and the DOJ has to explain to the public where are these possible documents and what do they say.
Here's what Thomas Massey said before the State of the Union. Let's play this clip.
Congress created the Department of Justice. Congress funds the Department of Justice, and Congress is responsible for the oversight of the Department of Justice. When will we see justice? I'll tell you what I've not seen. I've not seen any arrests from the revelations in the Epstein files. Over 3 million documents describing horrible things, describing unspeakable things. So much of it redacted. Over 24 people have resigned, CEOs, members of government worldwide. But I haven't seen any arrests or investigations here in the United States from this Department of Justice. Prince Andrew, Duke of York, who has since been stripped of his royal titles due to his affiliation with Jeffrey Epstein, has been arrested. Peter Mandelson, who previously served as UK's ambassador to the United States, resigned in disgrace from United Kingdom's House of Lords and the Labour Party, and he's been arrested. Former Prime Minister of Norway, Torbjorn Jagland, has been charged. But we don't see any charges, arrests, or investigations in the United States. What do we see? We see our FBI director celebrating in the locker room at the Olympics overseas. It's fine to be proud of this country, but we should be proud of this country because we have a system of justice that works. And yet we do not. Who are the men that should be investigated? I'll name them right here. Leon Black. You don't even have to see past the redactions to see that this man needs to be investigated. Jess Staley, accused of terrible things. It's right there in the files. Why is he not being investigated? And Leslie Wexner. Why did the FBI list him as a co-conspirator in their own documents in a child sex trafficking case and then tell him, according to him, that they had no questions for him? Why is that? Well, the Epstein Files Transparency Act requires the DOJ and the FBI to disclose to us their internal memos and emails about how they made those decisions, whether to prosecute or not prosecute. Yet they have not delivered those memos. And we still don't have the memos and documents and emails from 2008 to explain why Jeffrey Epstein was given such a light sentence in what would have been an open and shut case of child sex trafficking, which allowed him to go back and recommit these terrible crimes, create hundreds of more victims, and ensnare so many other people in his conspiracy. Where are those documents that describe those decisions? We need justice. We want the Department of Justice to get to work, and that's what they need to do now.
And here's what Nancy Mace had to say before the State of the Union. It was 2 days before. Here's what she had to say. Let's play this clip right here.
Do you think there will be arrests in America?
No, I don't. I have no confidence in our justice system. I think it's a system of injustice. I think the way that these victims and others get justice are seeing people, if they're not going to go to jail, be removed from boards, be publicly shamed out of civil society, lose their companies. You're starting to see some of that. The dominoes are falling, but they're not falling fast enough. And that's why I'm really intent on getting all the files out there. I don't believe there's any more investigation. There are not going to be any more indictments because I believe Epstein was an intel asset, maybe of one or multiple nations. And that's why our country protected him and the information and videos and audio that he had on other world leaders. But until people go to jail, people want justice. And that's the only way we're going to get it right now.
So we'll keep you posted every step of the way. But those are some, I think, big, significant revelations coming out. And you let me know what you think. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. We appreciate you. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today.